Hi guys, so this video serves as our SA4 prompt video as well as kind of all of Unit 4, okay? So we're going to get into the prompt, the outline, two different options for the outline which we'll talk about, the library research video, and some sample essays here. So let's dive right in, alright? I'm in the 1119 folder. So you'll notice that there's an SA4 materials folder there. And when you click on it, you'll notice a bunch of things, okay? There's the prompt, so we can click on that. It opens in a new tab. And then there's two options for the outline, which again, we'll talk about in a second. There's sample essays, your library research video, the work cited, okay? So these will be all of the sources you'll need from our textbook. An essay checklist, all right? So all of those things will be super helpful to you. So let's start with the prompt. Okay, so we have our prompt right here, and we can go ahead and dive right in. So our outline is going to be due Sunday, December 10th, and the final draft of the essay will be due Saturday. Please note the Saturday deadline, December 16th. I will be sending out multiple reminders about this, but please note that our class ends on Saturday. And of course, for the outline and the final draft, be sure that you're submitting a document file or a PDF. We should know this by now. Please note, for this final paper, you have two options, okay? So depending on which option you pick, that is the option you will choose for the outline, okay? So stay tuned. Hopefully this will start to make some sense. So the first option, and it ends right here at this line, okay? This is all of option 1, is a traditional research paper. If you choose this option, you will write a formal, traditional 6 to 8 page argumentative research paper about education. You must use at least 2 of our unit's readings and at least 3 sources found on the Mesa College Library website. And it says, see the library research demo video on Blackboard for a minimum of 5 total sources. So we can pause right here. This is the library research video that I'm talking about. I do a demonstration on how to find some research. So you'll need to go on this website here and find 3 sources, and then also use at least 2 from our class, from Unit 4. Your paper must also include at least 1 counter-argument, an argument which opposes your thesis, with a rebuttal. So just to pause right there again, remember all the way back in Unit 2, okay, oops, sorry. So I am in the Unit 2 10.8 folder. Remember that I have an argumentation lecture up here. Now what I would recommend, you can scroll through almost about halfway, a little bit more than halfway. I start talking about counter-arguments and rebuttals. So I would review the second half of this video here so that you are able to answer this part of the prompt, okay, because you do need to have 1 counter-argument, all right? So this is a traditional research paper. You will have an argumentative thesis statement, and your body paragraphs will work to support that thesis statement using your minimum of 5 sources. Now, these are the options of questions that you can choose for your topic. So what is the purpose of a college education? Should everyone have equal access to education? What do students gain or lose from getting a college education? Does it matter what a student gets their degree in? What degrees are the most useful to the country's success? What is the value of a humanities degree? Is a prioritization of STEM fields in the United States legitimate? So those are the different options that you can choose from. And then again, you see here, you can create your own topic, but email me for approval by Sunday 12/3. Okay, so notice your outline is going to be due Sunday the 10th. So about a week before or earlier, if you want to create your own topic, just email me for approval. Okay, I'm more than happy to let you guys choose your own topic, but I just want to make sure it'll work for the assignment. Okay, so again, traditional research paper, you're going to have an argumentative thesis that answers one of these questions, and you're going to use your 5 sources to help support your argument. Okay, now for the outline assignment, oops, if we go back to our Unit 4 here, so in our Unit 4 folder, notice there's 2 options. If you choose option 1, which is the traditional research paper, you need to choose the option 1 outline. So I'm downloading it now. So this is your outline, right? So for this, you simply download it and fill in your outline. Okay, but it needs to be a complete outline. You need to actually include your thesis, actually write out your topic sentences, include all of your evidence, right? Include your counter argument with the source. Your counter argument needs to have a source with your rebuttal. So the outline should be complete and thorough. However, it shouldn't be your complete essay. Okay, I will be giving you feedback on this. So obviously the more that you have there, the more that I can help you and guide you before the final draft is due. So just make sure that you include everything that I'm asking for here. Don't just leave the word evidence there. I've seen students do that before. That means that I actually want your quotes that you're using, okay? So that is essentially option 1 for your final paper, okay? So now we can get into option 2. So this is super fun. It's a dialogue essay, and if you attempt option 2, you automatically get 20 extra credit points on your final paper. Some people think that this is a little bit more challenging. It's a little bit more creative, so if you attempt it, you get 20 extra credit points. So if you choose option 2, you will use a variety of sources to show a spectrum of perspectives on our education topic. It will take the form of a 6 to 8 page debate, which will look somewhat like a screenplay. The challenge will be to offer coherent arguments by characters who represent not just different points of view, but also different styles of argumentation arising from their varied backgrounds, educational background, cultural and ethnic differences, and personal experience. The introduction will consist of a description of your characters, their positions on the given issue, and background information needed to help your intelligent, naive reader to understand your topic. Most of the explanation can be included in the context of the discussion. Assume your audience is educated but isn't necessarily knowledgeable about the subject. Also assume that they are very sensitive to bias. They shouldn't see yours even if you personally have strong feelings about it. You can choose the setting, but it usually is helpful to think in terms of a venue that encourages high-level discourse. Feel free to be as creative as you would like, as long as you think PBS-level discussion, not Jerry Springer. The more you can envision the personalities of your characters, the better your choice of rhetorical strategies can be. The context of this debate should encourage the most intelligent arguments possible. Your characters will be fictional, but can be based on actual people. While they should be representational of certain groups and belief systems, they must not be stereotypes. They should be people whom you would be willing to listen to, even if you vehemently disagreed with their particular point of view. If the person has an unpopular viewpoint, you might want to contrast it with an especially appealing personality or intriguing life situation. Each should bring something unique to the discussion. You will write as though they are speaking to each other, and your sources will be part of that speech. Each quote or paraphrase must be documented in the MLA style to avoid plagiarism. It can be difficult to distance yourself from your own words. Some people feel very awkward making a strong argument for something they do not believe, but this is an excellent way to train yourself to think critically and be able to articulate others' points of view honestly and fairly. The debate itself will be in script form, with speakers asking and answering questions. Characters will address one another's points and then go on to bring up new arguments. Make sure that the debate is not just a series of monologues, but is a real conversation. Normally there will be 3 to 5 speakers per page. More than that means you might be lacking in your use of sources, and fewer would sound more like speeches than debate. Speakers will quote or paraphrase their sources as though they are stating their own ideas. Your minimum of 5, which is at least 2 readings from our unit and at least 3 sources found on the Mesa College Library website, need to include journals, transcripts, oral interviews, discussion, sources, books, and others. The personality of the individual character will dictate what kind of source he or she might use. Again, each side should be so persuasive that the reader won't know your bias. In the conclusion, you can enlighten your audience as to your true beliefs. Talk about why you believe what you do and how your views might have changed as you did your research and formulated your arguments. Students may create a context which inspires them and which encourages strong argumentation. There is often a tendency to demonize those with whom the writer personally disagrees, even though most students claim to be tolerant of others' beliefs. This assignment will help students practice how to be able to articulate other sides, a step toward respecting those who hold the opinions. Okay? And notice here the potential topics for the dialogue essay are the same as option 1. Okay, they're the exact same questions. You just have the option of doing it in the form of a traditional paper or as this dialogue essay. So if you choose option 2, you will then choose option 2 for your outline. Right? Same idea here. You download it and you fill it in. Now, This is going to be more skeletal because everyone's going to do their paper slightly differently, and I make a note of that up here. So in your intro, you will have a description of your characters and their positions, and any background info needed to help your intelligent or naive reader to understand your topic. And then the body is going to look like a conversation. So for example, if character 1 is Joe, okay, Joe brings up the first point of discussion, uses some evidence, and then advances the discussion forward, and then maybe Julie here responds to Joe and then brings up her evidence, and then maybe a third character, and so on and so forth. And you carry on the conversation throughout your whole paper. And then in your conclusion for the essay, you will then include your discussion of your personal perspective on the issue. So what's really important here is in the body of your essay, the characters that you make up are going to be using the sources that you find. So you are actually going to come up with names for your characters. They're not going to be the names of our authors from our unit, okay? They're going to be something you make up, okay? Any names you want, make up some stuff about them. Are they married? Where did they go to school? Do they have a degree? Do they have kids, right? You're going to really develop characters here. And then the characters are going to talk to each other and use the sources that you find as their evidence, okay? So, I know this is kind of a lot. Let's see here. This is the list of texts that you can choose from for the in-class requirement. Notice here it says choose at least 2. And then I'll let you guys look at this, the tips for successful essays. What I really want to show you here is this folder on Blackboard for sample essays, okay? For option 1, there is a sample essay here, okay? So the student is writing about the meaning of education, and then this is their thesis. An individual's post-secondary education benefits the economy, provides intellectual and personal enrichment, and progresses society upwards. Moreover, the journey to obtaining higher education will be a fulfilling and life-changing experience. And then every body paragraph is going to speak to this thesis statement. And notice he's using Del Banco from our unit. And then he also has outside sources here as well. Okay, so every paragraph is working to support that thesis statement. This is kind of the same thing we've been doing for essays 2 and 3. It's an argumentative paper, but this time we're also incorporating some research. Okay, so this person did about 6.5 pages, and then they have the works cited at the end, perfectly formatted here. So this is a really solid sample for option 1. I recommend you read through that if that is the choice that you go with. And then I have a few different dialogue essays, and I decided to include more samples here because there's so many different directions that you can go in. So I'll just go through a couple of these, but really what I want to show you is the structure. Okay, so this person has the introduction here with a little bit of background information, and then they get into their characters. So for example, Riley Peterson holds 2 master's degrees in philosophy and communication, proponent of personal happiness. He is well known for his popular self-improvement books and for being an influential internet personality, especially with the college-age population. Okay, so the student completely made this up. Okay, and then they have Jerome Stanford. Okay, and then Erica Thor's daughter. Okay, I don't know if that's supposed to be Thor's daughter. Like, anyways, but the person made up several different characters. Okay, and then notice the structure here. It starts with the questions that they're going to get into with the paper, and then the characters simply start talking to each other. Notice there's little stage directions here, but the characters themselves are using the sources. Okay. Please note here, the period actually needs to go after the citation. Okay. But otherwise, this is a very, very, very good sample. Notice here, scoffs and begins to speak, speaking over the interruption, right? Notice how many speakers per page, right? And then at the end, this is the student's now conclusion about their personal perspective, okay? And this one's quite long. Your conclusion doesn't need to be that long, but this one's really well done. And then again, they have the work cited. So that's the first one. Just look at one more here. Option 2. Actually, I really want to show you option 4. this person made up a whole debate. So this one, instead of just having characters, right, they have characters, but also there's a producer of a live debate show. He's calling it the People's Debate. And so, again, they start with the characters, and then they simply start talking to each other, right? And all of these things in the asterisks here are little stage directions, so that's helpful. Asterisks, or if you put it in brackets or italics, something to help me see that that's the stage directions. This person decided to enter down after the name. I think bolding is sufficient, or even a different color is helpful, but something to indicate when your next speaker starts to speak would be very helpful. This person has different scenes, okay, so you're welcome to do that. There's really no limits to, I guess they're angry at each other here. There's really no limits to the dialogue option. I want you to have fun with it and really make it your own. You can create whatever kind of academic setting that you want to. Some people have done, you know, a coffee shop, and moms of prospective college students are meeting to discuss their children's future plans. There's so many ways that you can go, and I've included 4 different ones on Blackboard for you to kind of take a peek at. Now, don't steal their ideas. I still want this to be a creative option, which means you need to think of your own ideas, but hopefully that will help you to get started. And again, you'll get 20 extra credit points for simply trying the dialogue essay option, so go for it and have fun. That is essentially everything you'll need for Essay 4. Please, for this unit, start your discussion boards early. They are rather long, okay? Take note of your research paper research outline deadline. Again, make sure you choose the correct option. Option 1, traditional paper. Option 2, dialogue. They correspond with the options on the prompt, right? Option 1, traditional. Option 2, dialogue. All right? So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me.